Hey, welcome to Writing Inequalities with Mrs. Madsen. Today we are going to write an inequality that goes along with a real world situation. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. The highest temperature ever recorded at the South Pole was 8 degrees. Here's your fun fact for the day. 8 degrees is the highest that's ever been recorded at the South Pole. Crazy. Write an inequality that shows the temperature T in degrees Fahrenheit at the South Pole is less than or equal to 8 degrees. So it says write an inequality. Remember, the inequalities are comparisons, right? They are these types of things. So let's write an inequality for the temperature, which they said to use T, is less than or equal to 8 degrees. That means that the temperature could have been at 1.8 degrees, right? Because it's less than or equal. The temperature could have been like 7 degrees, right? The temperature very well could have been negative 17 degrees since we're talking about the South Pole. So everything less than or equal to 8 degrees is possible for the temperature of the South Pole. That is what we're doing today, writing inequalities. Here's another example. Lincoln Elementary PTA, this is a true story, by the way, would like to raise at least $10,000 for the school. Again, write an inequality that represents the amount of money M in dollars that the PTA would like to raise. So let's do M for money. The PTA would like would like the money to be at least $10,000. Okay, so at least, that doesn't say less than or greater than, does it? So we got to think a little more critically. If they want at least $10,000, does that mean that they would be happy with $10,000? Yeah, as long as it's at least $10,000, it sounds like they'd be happy. Would they be happy if they raised more than $10,000? You betcha. Yeah, at least $10,000 is greater than or equal to $10,000. So you can kind of think of the word at least as being equal or greater, right? But nothing less, nothing leaster than $10,000. So greater than or equal to is what at least means. Here, let's try this one. My mom said that I can have no more than 10 people invited to my birthday party. Have your parents ever said that? Yes, we're going to have a birthday party, but guess what? The jump zone or our home or wherever we're going doesn't allow more than a certain number of people. So let's write an inequality for that. It doesn't say what type of variable to use. Let's use P for party people. So the people at the party can be no more than 10. So would 10 people be okay? Yeah, 10 people would be okay. Would more than 10 people? No, your parents would be like, nope, sorry. You cannot have more than 10 people. I said no more than 10 people, which means that our inequality has to be the less than or equal to. 10 people is okay. Less than 10 people is great too. We just can't go more. It says no more than 10 people. So the inequality is P is less than or equal to 10. The elevator can hold up to 2,000 pounds. Write an inequality for this situation. Let's do an E for elevator. The elevator can hold up to 2,000 pounds. So it sounds like it would be okay with 2,000. Would it be okay with more than 2,000? No, it says it can hold up to 2,000, which means anything below the elevator would be okay, right? What do you think would happen if we got above 2,000? Do you want to be in that elevator if there's more than 2,000 pounds in it? Probably not. So we don't want the more than symbol. We definitely want the elevator can be less than 2,000 pounds. Or did we decide if it could be equal to? Yeah, it can hold up to that amount, but don't go above that. Or who knows what could happen. So up to Is an inequality less than or equal to? All right, so now that we've gone through some of these, let's fill out this chart. So we know these words that we see, we know what symbol to use. Okay, at least we decided when we did at least $10,000 that at least is greater than or equal to. We also did no more than with the birthday party. No more than means less than is okay or equal is okay. We just did up to. Up to a certain amount. Oh, is not greater than equal to, right? With the elevator, you want to go either less than or equal to. So up to a certain amount would be less than or equal to. No more than. We already did that one. Okay, at most. Ooh, if you can have at most, this is another birthday one. If you can have at most 10 friends, then that would be another less than or equal to. You can have at most 2,000 pounds in the elevator. No more than we did, no less than. No less than. All right, you can have no less than 5 people to make a basketball team. You can have more than 5 people, and that's fine, right? But to make a basketball team, you need no less than 5 people. So that means it's a greater than or equal to example. We don't have any more for like less than, but it could be like smaller than, could be a less than, taller than, could be a more than. Kind of examples like that. If you're getting bigger, if you want more than or taller than. Another less than could be fewer than. Does that give you some ideas? So now when you see these words, you know what kind of inequality symbol to use. Let's write an inequality for this situation. There must be no less than 65 police officers on duty. Let's do a P for police officers. And no less than. Well, we know what less than is, right? But this is no less than 65 police officers. So let's not do less than, let's do a greater than. Would it be okay to have exactly 65 police officers? Yeah, it just can be no less than that. So it'd be okay if there were exactly 65 or more, right? If there's 70 or 100 police officers, that's even better. But we can't have less than 65 police officers. So it'd be P is greater than or equal to 65. All right, we have an inequality right here. How could we say this as we were reading it? Well, we could say that N is less than or equal to 0.3, couldn't we? Or we could also say N is no more than 0.3. And you're like, how can there be? It can be less and more at the same time. Yeah, because this is no more than, and no more than is the same thing as less than. It's like the opposite, right? All right. Here's something that you will see a lot on like tests or exams or like matching stuff. Okay. So the way that I'm going to teach you how to do is I'm going to teach you to read the situation and match it up with one of these. I think that's easier than reading this and trying to decide out of those 4. It's easier for me to just look at one situation right here and figure out where it goes. So Walter sold more than 10 tickets. Doesn't say more than or equal to, right? Greater than equal to. It just says more than. So the only one that shows more than is right there. So that is going to go straight across. This one says fewer than 10 children are at the party. Fewer than would be less than, wouldn't it? And this is the less than symbol. So let's match that one up. No more than. I know what more than is, right? But no more than is the opposite of that. No more than 10 people can be seated at a table. Well, that makes sense because there's probably only 10 chairs at the table, right? So you can have 10 people at the table, 9 or 8 or 7, right? You can go less than 10. You can even go exactly 10. You just can't go more than 10. So it's going to be the less than or equal to 10 people are okay at the table. At least 10 people need to sign up for the class. Oh, this happened to us on a cruise once. My husband and I really wanted to go fly fishing in the Caribbean. And we found out like the day before we were going to do the fly fishing that it was canceled because there was not enough people who signed up. There had to be at least a certain amount of people that signed up, and apparently it was just my husband and I. So they canceled it. My husband was really, really sad. This is another situation though. At least 10 people need to sign up for the class, which means if there's 2 people, nope, not enough to do the class. If there's 7 people, no, the class is getting canceled. But if there is exactly 10 people, that will work. If there's more than 10 people, that's great. You just can't have a lesser amount than 10. So at least is that greater than or equal to inequality. All right. A child's roller coaster is limited to riders whose height is at least 30 inches and at most 48 inches. Right? 2 inequalities that represent the height. We got 2 inequalities because you have to be a certain height. You got to be high enough to go on it. But because it's a kid ride, you also can't be too high. So you got to be in like a sweet spot. Can't be a little toddler, can't be a really tall teenager. You got to kind of be children's roller coaster height, right? So let's do at least 30 inches. That means if we're talking about Lisbon, she has to be taller than 30 inches. If she's exactly 30 inches, that's fine because that's at least 30, correct? But she has to be at most 48. So the most high she can get is 48 inches. So if we measure her, she's exactly 48 inches, that's fine. If she's less than 40 inches, that's good. That's the most she can be. She can't be higher than 48 inches. So those are the 2 inequalities for at least 30 inches and at most 48 inches. This is a really time for a quick story. We went to Disneyland when Porter and Maya were like 6 and 4. Maya was super excited for the Incredicoaster. Porter, not so much. He's terrified of roller coasters. So we get to the Incredicoaster line, and Porter's already off to the side because he does not want to go on the roller coaster. Maya is so excited to go on the roller coaster. We line up, we get in the line, and all of a sudden a Disneyland person stops us and points to the little ruler and says, "Sorry, you have to see if you're tall enough." So we put Maya up to the line, and guess what? She is like this much too short. And they don't let Maya go on the roller coaster ride because she was not at least 30 inches, and she was devastated. She started crying. I had to take her back. There's Porter, who was tall enough, who didn't want to go on it, and then there's Maya, who wasn't tall enough, who was crying. So I had like 2 unhappy children at Disneyland, which is not a good thing. Disneyland is a super happy place, but it wasn't for me. There's my quick random tangent of a story. Let's go on to see if you're ready for this. Can you write an inequality that goes with a real world situation? Here's the situation. The dog needs at least 2 cups of food per meal, or it's going to be really unhappy and get really small, maybe. What is the inequality for that? You can use whatever variable you'd like. A dog needs at least 2 cups of food per meal. Well, I'm going to do a D for dog. You can do whatever else you like. The dog needs at least 2 cups of food, which means more than 2 cups of food will be great. If it has exactly 2 cups of food, that'd be fine too, but it can't have less than that. It can't have 1 cup or a half a cup. It has to have at least 2 cups, so greater than or equal to. How'd you do? You are ready for some practice? I will catch you next video.